Hello friends, in this video lecture we will see classification of heart diseases and heart failure. So before seeing the classification of heart diseases, let us just go through the normal structure and function of heart. So heart has four chambers: right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Innermost layer is endocardium, then there is myocardium, and the outermost covering pericardium. Plus heart has four valves, and right side of heart receives deoxygenated blood from the body, and left side of heart provides oxygenated blood to the body. And in function, the function of heart is to provide oxygenated blood to the tissues and organs. Now, stroke volume is amount of blood that is pumped by the ventricle during each beat. So, in normal 70 kilogram adult, it is around 70 ml. And to function properly and to maintain tissue perfusion and oxygenation, during every heartbeat, ventricle should be able to dilate enough to collect 70 ml of blood and contract enough to pump that 70 ml of blood. Plus, that 70 ml of blood should have enough RBC mass, and those RBC should have normal oxygen carrying capacity. Plus, blood vessels should not have obstruction, and valve, heart valve should function properly. Then heart will be able to provide tissue perfusion and oxygenation. So anything wrong with these factors will ultimately increase the workload on the heart. So depending on this, heart diseases falls into one of these categories. Number one, failure of the pump means either inability to dilate properly or contract properly. For example, if there is myocardial infarction, if some part of the ventricle wall undergoes infarction, it will not be able to contract properly. So there will be systolic failure, or inability to dilate properly, like it occurs in restrictive cardiomyopathy, where the dilation of the ventricles are restricted. So there will be diastolic failure. So failure of the pump. Now if second category is obstruction to the flow. For example, in case of atherosclerotic plaque, which will narrow the lumen of the blood vessel, or there is stenosis of any valve, like mitral stenosis. Stenosis is the narrowing of the heart valve. So during every heartbeat, ventricle is supposed to pump 70 ml of blood. But if there is stenosis of the valve, what it will do is, there will be some amount of blood which will flow backwards. That is called regurgitant flow. Generally, the stenosis of valve result in regurgitation. So what happens is, the whole output is not flowing. There is some amount of blood that is flowing backward, which will increase the amount of blood in next heartbeat. So obstruction and regurgitation. Then shunted flow. Shunt is an abnormal communication either between the chambers of heart or between the blood vessel. For example, abnormal communication between left ventricle and right ventricle following myocardial infarction, or between the blood vessel, as in case of patent ductus arteriosus. So shunted flow. Or there is disorder of cardiac conduction, means, for example, atrial and ventricular fibrillation results in non-uniform and inefficient contraction of the muscular wall. Then there can be rupture of any chamber of heart or major blood vessels. Obviously, it will result in large collection of blood, and it is emergency and may also result in death. Then there are pericardial diseases like hemopericardium or pericarditis. So these are the various categories under which various heart diseases fall. Now let's discuss heart failure. It is also often called congestive heart failure. It is a common, usually progressive condition with a poor prognosis, because it is occurring from the cumulative effect of chronic workload. So in heart failure, heart is unable to pump blood at the rate sufficient to meet the metabolic demand of the tissue, or can do so only at an elevated filling pressure. For example, in case of myocardial infarction or valvular heart diseases or in hypertension. So what happens is, take example of myocardial infarction. There is ventricle is not able to contract properly, so there is constantly volume overload. Or in case of valvular heart diseases, there also, if there is regurgitation, it will cause volume and or pressure overload. And in hypertension, obviously blood is flowing with high pressure, so it will cause pressure overload. So ultimately, whether it is pressure or whether it is volume overload, will result in increased cardiac work, and the walls of the ventricle will have stress. And there are many compensatory mechanisms, means myocyte will undergo hypertrophy, chamber will undergo dilation. Up to certain extent, these compensatory mechanisms work, but if the cause is not removed, ultimately it will result in heart failure. So, like we discussed, there are several physiological mechanisms maintaining the arterial pressure and perfusion of the vital organs, like myocardial adaptation, including hypertrophy with or without cardiac chamber dilation. There is Frank-Starling mechanism, in which there is increased functional cross bridge formation within the sacrometer, enhancing the contractility. Then there is activation of neurohormonal system, like there is release of norepinephrine by the adrenergic cardiac nerve, which will try to increase the heart rate and myocardial contractility. Then activation of renin-angiotensin aldosterone system and release of atrial natriuretic peptide, which both will try to act to adjust filling volume and pressure. So up to certain extent, these compensatory mechanisms work, but eventually, if the cause is not removed, myocyte will undergo degeneration and apoptosis. Plus, because there is increased workload on the heart needs more oxygen, and myocardium becomes vulnerable to ischemia. So while this compensatory mechanism, heart chambers will undergo this type of hypertrophy or dilation. Like in first two cases, there is massive hypertrophy of the chamber. Hypertrophy is so profound that the chamber has become very small cavity. So it will result in diastolic failure. While here in the third case, there is dilation of the chamber plus hypertrophy of the wall. So now, what is the clinical presentation of heart failure? So clinical consequences, remember when the right side of heart fails, the blood, because it is receiving the blood from the body, the blood will back into the body. While in case of left side, blood will back into the lungs. So it will present with in case of left heart failure, there will be cyanosis and pulmonary edema. While in case of right side of heart failure, there is hepatosplenomegaly, ascites and peripheral edema. So first let us take left heart failure. If left ventricle fails, blood back up in the lung. The commonest causes include ischemic heart disease, systemic hypertension causing pressure overload, mitral or aortic valve diseases causing pressure and or volume overload, or certain primary heart diseases like cardiomyopathy. So ultimately, what are the changes that occur in heart? Left ventricle will undergo hypertrophy and or dilation, which ultimately leads to left atrial dilation and hypertrophy. So what are the clinical features? Patient will have dyspnea, that is difficulty in breathing, orthopnea, that is difficulty in breathing while lying down flat, plus paroxysmal nocturnal dyspnea, paroxysmal episodes of dyspnea while sleep. Heart is enlarged, heart rate is increased. Later there will be mitral regurgitation and systolic murmur. Murmur is an abnormal heart sound. If it is heard during the systole, it is called systolic murmur. If it is heard during the diastole, it is called diastolic murmur. If the atrium is large, it will produce irregular heartbeat. As in case of left ventricular or left heart failure, there is there is pulmonary edema. This edematous fluid will accumulate in alveoli also. Along with the fluid, some RBC also extravasate, and these RBCs will be digested by alveolar macrophages, and iron released from the hemoglobin will be collected in the form of hemosiderin in these macrophages. These brown color pigments are hemosiderin, and these cells are hemosiderin laden macrophages. And in case of left side of heart failure, this type of cell in the lung are called heart failure cells. So now what happens in right heart failure? If right ventricle fails, blood backs up in the body. The commonest cause includes left heart failure. If one side fails over a period of time, there will be failure of other side also. Lung diseases. When primary disease is in the lung, and over a period of time, if it involves the right side of heart, it is called as cor pulmonale. The most common being pulmonary arterial hypertension and pulmonary embolism, or some congenital heart diseases. What are the changes occurs in heart? Right ventricle will undergo hypertrophy and or dilation over a period of time. Right atrial enlargement. As the blood backs in the body, there will be peripheral edema, pedal edema. There will be big congested liver, hepatomegaly. In right-sided heart failure, it is also called nutmeg liver. Why? Because see, this is the cut surface of nutmeg. It has darker and alternate lighter and darker area. Same way here, there are darker and lighter area. Darker area are nothing but the collection of blood. This is called nutmeg liver. There will be splenomegaly also, and most chronic cases of heart failure are generally bilateral. So this is about classification of heart disease and heart failure, right and left.